who we are, the higher and greater aspect of the fractal of Yara, we greet you with so much love. Now, in this particular transmission, we'd like to speak to you about a concept that might be for many difficult to comprehend or even accept due to the various belief systems that you are still deeply ensconced in and are repeating. So, what we'd like to say is that many of you still believe that things and events and life events and nature events and collective events are happening from what you term the left field, that there is no interaction on their part, that there is as such, quote unquote, the big bad or unfathomable world out there that could be happening to them at any moment. And if it's that type of belief system that they're sharing, so be it. But there are many that are starting to accept that you are creating your own reality. But then that statement to many is again very, very conceptual. That it's not yet comprehended fully. And that there are some that fully comprehend that statement or understand that you are and everything that is as such conscious in your reality and other realities create and reflect their own reality. Some fractals of yours or personality fractals that seek different experiences in more rapidly vibrating constructs will be fully aware, and thus oftentimes in dream time or even in awakened time, you are being fed by more highly vibrating of other soul fractal experiences this kind of information, because we have told you over and over that you are connected to all your other soul fractals, despite the fact that there are myriads out there. But now we would like to present you with a more, let us say, difficult concept, or a concept that is more difficult to be accepted by you, even by the ones that understand that you are as such reflecting as well as creating in your own reality, and that there are umpteen different realities. We just like to make you aware of what you term the Mandela Effect. For some, there have been several moon landings. For some, there have been none. For some, there has been only one. There are umpteen different examples that actually show you that there are many different realities. Now, we'd like to touch upon something completely different. What if your thoughts and emotions that are electromagnetic are actually the triggers for individual events to happen, collective events, even nature events? This particular concept is very difficult to accept for many, and that's say 99% of your humanity, even for the fractal here. Because it means if your emotions and your thoughts are electromagnetic, And coming from the premise here, or presenting this to you, that your thoughts and emotions are actually at the root or at the heart of events to happen, means that whatever you feel you can hide, this inner invisible world is not that inner and invisible. We present this to you in a very simple way, again stressing not that we think that you are simplistic. It is just quite a difficult concept to grasp from the premise that already you're hidden what you term inner world, where you might hide your white lies or even big lies, where you might as such hide experiences or things you've done, so let us say the quote-unquote outside world will never know about it. The question is then, how hidden is your inner quote-unquote reality or inner or invisible world, and how invisible is it? Many of you operate in a way that you have your quote-unquote organized outside world, and then you have the richness of your quote-unquote inner invisible world dominated by emotions, by thoughts, and also going through the filter of intellect. When you think about how you communicate even with the near and dear one, when you have a more concentrated dialogue, don't you think what you want to say now? Sometimes, yes, you might blurt out what you're feeling. But often many, or in a business meeting, you are carefully considering the wealth of thoughts that are electromagnetic. You want to start uttering forth and putting into the room, so to speak. It completely changes the premise of you having an inner hidden world that you might share with nobody or only with a few, and that you can have the thoughts that you want to have. But this particular premise suggests that the very nature of your thoughts and emotion and focus, all of that you think is hidden, is actually at the root, as we say, or at the heart of your personal reality. Of course, we feel and we see through the fractal that for many this is a very difficult point of view or concept to grasp, because it means that you ultimately carry the whole responsibility for your own reality, and that what you think is hidden and invisible is not as hidden and invisible. Though now we say it has a very positive, in your language, component, and also many that have the ability to connect to that invisible world within others and themselves anyways. But what you might term telepathy is on the rise. Because ultimately with telepathy, lying becomes impossible, or being economical with the truth. To think that you can hide this wealth of all these thoughts within this rich world of yours that you deem invisible. At the same time, we say this is something beautiful, because if you start understanding gradually that you can bring about change, and that's the key word we'd like to introduce after this concept, that you are yourself your own turning point For as long as you feel completely helpless and victimized in a world that you feel everything is happening to you, and you're perpetuating this will ultimately happen. And thus you will always stay in your victimhood, so to speak. But once you really truly start realizing that this rich inner world is actually the engine and key to how, quote unquote, your world is looking, and many of you starting to understand that, you can actually bring about change much faster. We have been speaking about this for a long time, and we feel many of you are getting, let us say, are warming up to that concept. We understand it's difficult to understand or to fully integrate that ultimately the responsibility lies with you. But this has this wonderful sovereignty attached to it, the sovereignty that many other conduits receive information through from the other higher and greater aspects, that you are all sovereign and divine beings. And understanding that you hold the power, but also understanding to be mindful that it starts with the electromagnetic nature of your thoughts and emotions, that they are, as such, the beginning of something, as such, mirroring and manifesting. There are many different stages in between, but we just wanted to put this concept to you so that you start assuming responsibility and understanding that you are sovereign, understanding that you can, quote unquote, ditch these old and outlived belief systems. We understand that ultimately this is very difficult because you have so many different other concurrent soul fractals or personality fractals of your larger and higher being or higher self, a greater and higher aspect, quote unquote, out there having an experience. And that everything is connected and that you're receiving, quote unquote, all the time this information, and understanding that you are in the driver's seat with each and every fractal, and that there are umpteen different parallel and different realities happening all at once, and that you can, as such, using the power of your thoughts to bring about change. Of course, within your polarized world, it can also be used, quote unquote, for the shadow side. But this again is another layer to this fabric of the richness of the experience that you are choosing for the moment. For the moment, we'd like to terminate this transmission, but just reminding you that you hold change at any moment. You can, once you understand that you are powerful creator and sovereign beings, bring about the reality you want. But again, with another transmission, we'd like to talk about the shadow side of this as well. We love you so much, as creation is love and love is creation. We love you so much. Goodbye. We love you.